Hey everybody, today I wanted to break down a production template. I picked this technique up from actually the mixing world. There's a million mixing templates. Everybody's got their own style, their own like workflow, whatever. And I wanted to get that for production. I was reading a book not too long ago called The Power of Habit, Atomic Habits. There we go. Atomic Habits. Great book. Really should read it. And part of that was about environment design. So if you want to be more efficient at certain habits or get into a flow of something quicker or more easily, set up the environment better. So for me, I was finding that time and time again, boy, was I like really wasting time pulling things up. So as a reference, when I first started, and I'm not positive how Pro Tools does this because I haven't done this in forever, but let's say it's something like this, probably with audio tracks rather than instrument tracks. But essentially, if you were to load up Pro Tools, default, hadn't done anything to it, it kind of would look like this. A whole bunch of instrument tracks that give you nothing. You'd have to pull something up, multi-channel plugin. I need to get, something from Contact or whatever. That's really tedious and long, and it doesn't help. So to get into a creative workflow better, what I started doing was these templates. I was finding that I would do the same things pretty regularly, and I just decided once I got a song structure that I really liked, which in this case is like primo pop, just super poppy all the way through. I just copied that and put it into a template. So I'm going to break that down a little bit as from a production standpoint. Maybe you can use this in your workflow setup. So I organize things in folders. I've talked to a lot of engineers lately that just don't do it that way. And their answer to me is always because they didn't used to do it that way. And it's a relatively new workflow for Pro Tools. I mean, past couple years maybe. So if you're talking to somebody who's in the industry for longer, they don't really do it this way. Nobody had a better answer as to why they don't do it other than that. I love the folders. They're great. You can break things down into subcategories. You have everything organized, and it's a nice clean view for me. So I break it down this way. I have a Vox folder, a percussion folder, a low end folder, keys folder. Guitars is usually not there, but sometimes it is. Pads and FX. That's kind of the way I break it down. At the top, we have our master, and then a mix, which I don't typically use at this stage. And lately, I've been throwing in a melody generator as well, which is just a piano track that's not ever going to be in the song. But when I'm songwriting, it helps to have it just kind of queued up so that I can just record it in if I don't want to sing it, or if I can just work something out on the moment. That really helps me too. So this is my basic folder setup. I also have it broken down by the most typical pop structure basically ever, and kind of broke it down too. So I have, these are in your markers. Again, you can go to add markers by just hitting the plus button there in Pro Tools and add the marker. Intro, verse 1. I call it a verse 1 scene change, which if you listen to a lot of pop songs, you'll pick up that something is different vocally and arrangement and stuff like that. Chorus 1, post-chorus 1. Verse 2, scene change, chorus 2, post-chorus 2, bridge, chorus 3, post-chorus 3, outro. All that is to say it's the most basic fundamental pop structure of all time, basically. So I have it set up this way so that every time I load up a session, this is what comes up, everything that you see here. I even have essentially deactivated MIDI clips of where I chose to introduce things from, again, a very poppy type song. So my goal with this is to get super formulaic. As the song progresses, it's going to change. You're going to change it. You're an artist or whatever, and you have a different taste, and you're in a different mood that day, and you're writing a different song. But I liked having the visual of, okay, this is where I brought these things in. This is where I got heavy on percussion because it's the chorus. Or like for verse 1 scene change, this is where I brought in an additional key element because it added an intensity going into the chorus, whatever it may be. The goal is to get more formulaic so everything was queued up first. So I'm going to break these down just a little bit further. This may be a little bit longer video, so brace yourself. Okay, so for the vocal folder, I typically have it lead vox, background vocals, and then I have like a verb and FX setup for all of my subfolders here, which we'll get into. But essentially, I just have basic processing that I am likely to use for certain things. So hot track is what I'm recording into. I might have the verse lead. The chorus lead might be processed slightly different. And post-chorus, I have like a Metatune effect and some Echo Boy, stuff like that. And again, the goal is for efficiency. So I can record something in the hot track and then just drag it around. Let's say I know it's going to be in the verse, it goes right there. If I know it's going to be the chorus lead, it goes right there. And it already has some effects processing on it, so I can get into the flow quickly and understand how it could sound and what needs to change, basically. Background vocals is a similar story. I have a whole bunch of crap set up. So I have like a little intro riff here. I've got a basic double. I've got some chorus effects, spreader, harmonies, again, all queued up. All these are kind of dead files, basically, from where I brought in previous harmonies for whatever reason in the last pop song, basically. So I save this as basically I title it as a top 40 pop template, and then I just pull this thing up. With the drums, same kind of thing. I have a whole bunch of stuff queued up so that I'm already logged into XO. I don't have to go and click through everything because I have essentially like a pop, which I labeled pop starter kit, already pulled up. It's ready to go. It's got a kind of a simple 4 on the floor format typically just to get things going, and then I'll change it. Then I have a duplicate 808 kit. What if I want to get more, heavy? Go with 808s. Accent drums, closed hats, open hats. I even have probably on here dance hat and a Haas snare, because I almost always add those things in, and I almost always add them in the chorus. Why not just have it there queued up for now, see how it plays, and then figure out what I need to change. For the instruments, it's pretty similar. I do a lot of keys typically, but I essentially queue up what I've been using regularly. So if you're like me, you probably have a billion VST instruments. I mean, just everybody's got so many of them. Arturia's got a billion. Then you've got all the Kontakt stuff. What about Omnisphere? There's just so many things. And yet I find that I pull up the same 10 instruments over and over again. I always need a piano. I always want the DX7. I almost always want Jupiter, so I have that deactivated here. I almost always want something from Kontakt. So I have a legato strings patch here from Kontakt, and staccato as well. So what I would do is essentially for each of these keys here, I would have a handful of things deactivated because I'm not really sure what I'm feeling, but I want them all there. So I have, in this case, Arturia's Matrix 12, I have Serum, I have Kontakt, and then I have Arturia's DX7. So those are all queued up, just deactivated. When I'm ready to pull it up, I'll make this one active, and now I've got it kind of ready to go. And that is super useful to me. I do the same thing with the low end stuff. I find that I typically have the same group of things over and over again. I love the Mini. I really like the sound of it. I pull it up a lot. So why not just have it queued up, basically ready to go? And then I have a little bit of processing on it, as far as compression goes. Another thing was the low end, for example, almost 100% of the time, I've got the low end chained to the kick. So I want that side chain compression going. Rather than pull it up in every single session that I do, why not just have it loaded into a template early on? And from a production standpoint, mixing and mastering is a little bit different, but from a production standpoint, if you know it's going to be there, go ahead and put it there and have it queued up as soon as you load the session. So I've already got the kick chain set up, and I've got it basically going on the tracks that I think it would be appropriate for. In addition to that, part of that process for me was really getting my buses dialed in. I loved having them color coded. So you'll see here I've got the folders color coded, but I also have things color coded with the buses, and I did that through the IO setup. So I have, if it's vocal related, basically it's red or purple. If it's percussion rated, basically it's orange and yellow. The low end is blue for me. Pads are a different purple. The keys are green, and the FX is yellow. And I do have some room reverb, which I don't have active right now, but that way everything is visually super easy for me, so that when I'm typing something in here, I can just go to, let's say it's like a Vox, let's say it's a low spreader, like a chorus thing. It's color coded so that visually I can see it now appropriately. So I know if something's in there, it's like, well, that's not right. I can just make it. That's clearly I pulled the wrong thing up. It's just easy visually for me to do. So a big part of this process was going through the labor intensive work of adding all the buses to the effects that I typically am going to want. So in my reverb and effects folder, which I have for just about all the groupings, but the Vox has the majority of them, I've got like a short reverb setup. I've got a medium reverb setup. I have a lengthier reverb setup. Then I have your delays, your 4, your 8, your 16. I have reverb throws, reverb delays, all that's queued up already because it's like 9.5 out of 10 times I'm going to use something in that grouping. It'd have to be a very specific song for me not to. So each folder has an effects folder. Maybe not you, actually. I might have taken that one out. That way I have it just accessible and ready to go. And again, they're not active. So for like the 16 delay, they should have probably a preset that I had kind of queued up or something going with the 16th, but it's not active when I load the session. And then when I'm ready to choose it, I have not only the auxiliary setup, but I also have multiple options to choose from depending on the sound that I'm looking to go for. It's just of all the things that I've picked up in the last few years, this one to me was the most instrumental as far as like getting into a better workflow quicker. I can see everything I want. I have everything pulled up the way I want. It might take you a few tries to sort of get it the way you want it to be, as far as like, hey, I know that I use these things regularly, and there is a lot of work getting this stuff set up early. For example, this XO kit, like I went through and found pop sounds that I wanted to flesh these out. And another example would be in every song, just about, I need kits for risers and falls. So I went through Battery in a couple instances and XO and just added a custom kit that has all these things together. And that may seem super elementary to some people, and I totally get that. I was late to the game with some of these things, and you're just wasting a lot of time with basic workflow things that could make your life way better. So rather than spending time loading things up, you're spending time creating things, and your efficiency is just way, way better. So, if there's a style or a genre that you work in regularly, for me, it's a lot of pop. I find a structure and setup that I like. I typically keep all the clips and audio like around just so I can visually see it and how I introduce things and why. And then I've got a whole bunch of instruments that I regularly use ready to go. Simple, very effective, massive time saver. Definitely try it out. Workshop it a little bit, figure out what works best for you, but it's really worth a look. This is, of all the things I've, like I said, of the past couple of years, this one is probably the most truly game changer status as far as workflow goes. So give it a shot. Thanks for listening.